Hey everybody, welcome. Thanks for stopping by today to check out the video. Today it is a really great opportunity to kind of change gears because normally I'm doing some ride-along videos, and today I'm going to take advantage of an opportunity that my quote-unquote friend, he is my friend, yes, Nick, I just like to bust his balls about it, has given me the opportunity to ride one of the bikes that he's received from the suppliers, and today we're going to be going on what is the Vanpowers e-bike. Now, this e-bike is a little bit different, especially in comparison to the Onyx. So just don't even think about the Onyx when I'm talking about this because they're in totally different classes of e-bike vehicles. So with that said, what I'm going to do is we're going to go through the pros, some cons that I noticed riding in, and you'll see some of them too when you're watching the video. And then I'm going to give you my overall review at the end. First thing that comes to mind when I'm thinking about the pros is that when you look at this bike, it's an e-bike that looks like an actual bike, a bicycle, you know? There's nothing that indicates necessarily that this is an e-bike. There's no throttle. There's no hub motor in the wheels, you know? It does have a digital screen, so that, maybe somebody might pick up on it. It's like, oh, that's a little different. But to the average person and the naked eye, you're never going to know that this is an e-bike unless you know about the brand and the bike itself. So that's really, really nice right there. So you don't have to worry about people going like, oh, that's a nice e-bike. Like, maybe I could take that. Because you don't want that. You know, then somebody steals your bike and you see it online for sale and you're like, that's my bike. Anyway,
it's hard
the
to do
next positive to this thing, the pros, is that it is extremely portable. It's super light. If you've seen the thumbnail there, you know, I'm holding it up on my back in view of the train. That's how light it is, and it's really not a struggle. I mean, I do go to the gym, but it's a really light bike. You can pick it up, and that's a really nice thing, especially in comparison to the Onyx or other e-bikes, especially ones that have hub motors and so on, right? Generally, those type of bikes, they tend to be heavier. There's nothing you can do about it. There's just more on there.
Turn. Yeah.
Oh, how the turntables. I'm on Ryan's Onyx, and he is actually on a pedal bike.
I just went up a massive hill. That's what Nick's reading out.
Yeah, so he's making a video on this bike. I'll leave his channel down below. You're welcome.
Thank you, friend. Thank you. But yeah. So today, I'm driving the Vanpowers bike instead of my baby.
It's mine.
Yep, it's Nick's today. And this is quite the workout. But if you want to have a commuter bike, and you don't want people to think you drive something sexy like that,
And I mean, you're healthy.
these are your options. Yeah, and if you're a healthy person or looking to get healthy, this is a great way to kind of segue into the e-bike market and get some nice exercise in. Whoops, I've been recording the whole time. All right, ready? I just can't
And
get
so this one is just basically a cycling type bike that has a little bit of help from the belt motor down below. You know, with all those bells and whistles kind of taken off and you just have the basic belt or the belt assist, then, you know, you really don't know that it's a bike, and it's really portable as a result because it's lighter, it's easier to kind of move around on, and you don't have any wires and such to kind of worry about too. And another pro to this is that when you're riding this bike, what's nice is that you actually kind of have to pedal, so you're going to get a workout in. if you find that as a positive, I think that's a positive. I always get a workout in. But the belt pedal assist is going to do some work, but it's not going to do all the work, so you're going to get a nice little workout in. The top speed with the belt assist, which is in the fifth mode, is about 20 miles an hour, right? Depending on your weight, load, and the battery charge as well, and also other factors such as the hill, the gradient, and how hot it is, and so on. With this bike, there are 5 modes, 1 through 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest, that you can switch through. However, in my experience so far, you don't necessarily feel any of the belt assist until you get to maybe 3, mode 3 and upward. And mode 3 usually puts you around like 10 to 12 miles, I think it is. And or slightly higher, it's all variable depending on how fast you pedal, and if you're going downhill and such. And if you're going uphill, to contrast that, right? If you have the pedal assist on 5, it's really not going to be effective, and it's not going to necessarily be noticeable by you when you're riding. And you see in the clips here that I ride up a hill, and I kind of struggle because I have to stand up and really kind of put all of it into it because it's just a bike, right? There are gears that you can shift up into, but it's still a bike. You got to pedal it, so you're going to get that workout in. It's a lovely segue into my next point, which is talking about kind of the downsides of the bike. And that is that it is a bike, it's a bike. It really is just really a bike. You know, you do have the belt pedal assist, and it is useful, especially when you're on a flat gradient. But in general, you're still pedaling. So it's more or less just a real bike that has a little bit of a electric bike component to it. So that's the downside if you're really trying to get that full e-bike experience. And if that's the case, then I maybe would recommend looking at something else. You know, it's not a typical e-bike, really, is what it comes down to. There's no throttle, you know, there's no brake pads to worry about. It's just a typical bike. The other thing that I've noticed in my short time riding it is that there's not really a lot of room for customization. Let's think about this, right? It's a bike. So how much customization can you really do with a bike? Especially a bike that, you know, you have to consider you have to pedal. So you're not necessarily going to want to put a lot of things on there because then again, you still have to pedal.
I saw a perfect opportunity in the Commuter review to stop at the train station and show how nice this is to literally just ride up, stop, and light the bike up. And then walk away.
So it kind of leaves a little bit left to be desired in that sense, if that's important to you. It might not be important to you, and in that case, you could just say, screw it. And then the other thing that I noticed, and I think that pretty much everybody can get on board with in terms of it being a kind of a downside, is that there's no suspension in this bike. So when I'm riding this bike now, as you can see, and if you get it, you'll notice it too, or in general, if you just have a bike that has no suspension in your riding, you're going to feel all of the bumps and the little imperfections in the road, the trail, wherever you're going, right? And that can get uncomfortable pretty quickly. You know, you might want to consider that because the seat isn't exactly super thick, and with no suspension on that type of bike, it's going to be you're definitely going to feel that bump. In general, when I think about the bike, you know, weighing the pros, the cons, and then also given the amount of time I've spent on it and, you know, riding it, I would say that this bike is perfect if you're someone who is a biker right now, someone that maybe is a cyclist or, you know, uses a bike in general to get around, and you're not sure that you want to take the full leap into the e-bike market. I think this is the best entry bike for you to take because it still lets you be a cyclist or biker as you desire, and you have the flexibility to engage the belt pedal assist if you'd like to. You don't have to. Again, it's totally up to you. If you want to get that workout in instead, you keep it down at 1, 2. If you don't want to get that workout in, or maybe you just don't want to sweat on a hot day, you're riding the bike, use that pedal assist. It's nice. Now, another person that this bike could really be a nice fit for is someone that is a daily commuter like I am. So prior to the pandemic, like most people, I was commuting on the regular basis, and I'd have to go to a train, and then from the train, I'd have to take a train to somewhere else, and then another train somewhere else, and then yada, yada, yada. If I had access to this type of bike, I would have saved so much time, especially for the second train, because the second train I have to wait for, and if I miss it, because NJ Transit sucks, and they're always late, then I have to, you know, I have to wait there forever and ever. But if I had this bike, I could take it on the train with me here, and then when I got to, you know, where I was going, then I could just hop off the train. Instead of waiting for that thing, I could just ride that bike there and put it back down. And I could lock it up outside because, again, it looks like a regular bike, you know, so no one's going to really want to be necessarily going to steal that one in particular, especially because it's so bare bones too, which is nice. I like that kind of slick design. So if you're a daily commuter, I would highly recommend it. And then some other things that to consider too as a commuter is that you don't necessarily need a motorcycle helmet and motorcycle gear, similar to what I wear when I ride the Onyx, right? You don't have to worry about that because you're not going at that high of speed. And additionally, it's just a bike, you know, so you can kind of get away with just a regular bicycle helmet instead. And you don't have to worry about the parking, as I mentioned previously. And nobody can take the battery from you, which is really nice because the battery is inside one of the inner frame tubes, so it's impossible to get to unless you take the whole bike. And then something else to consider is that in general, if you're just an overall cyclist and you're maybe looking for a little variety in your life, I think this is a nice bike too. It's on the cheaper side of things too when you consider e-bike costs, and you know, a great foray for you to kind of just change it up or, you know, dabble in this new emerging PEV. So guys, overall, I think it's a great bike, especially for the people I described there. But in general, I think it's a nice bike if you're looking to just segue into the e-bike world, to the personal EV world, anything like that. I think it's a nice bike to look at. It's slick. You can definitely get it now and it'll ship to you and you just got to put it together. It's a little bit of a hassle, but if you put together IKEA furniture, you can do this too. I believe in you. If you guys have any questions, you know, drop them down in the comments below or drop me a message. You know what to do with the video. Take care of business for me and the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great one. Ciao.